I think we're at a moment in time where enough's enough. I think other than, it's 7 pence, it's a symbolic tax for you, for the most disadvantaged kids of Britain. So it has the capacity to raise, £1 billion a year, which programmes that are proactive on child health in the NHS need, and primary schools and teachers in schools around Britain need. So it's symbolic, it's about reducing consumption, and it's about raising funds. But really that's one part of a massive strategy that I've put forward, and many other charities and NGOs have put forward to Mr Cameron to help inspire him to get his British childhood obesity strategy in good check. Whether it's this year or next year. I think it's probably more like next year, but we'll see.
You say that it's symbolic, but actually a 7p tax like this, a flat rate tax, actually hits the poorest the hardest.
It's going to tax everyone, of course, but and it's going to skew poorer people maybe if their consumption is high. But what you'll see is the funds raised from that. Remember, it's not just going off into the ether of government. I only agree with this tax if it goes into British primary schools and goes into the NHS on proactive health schemes with kids and with families. And if you want to look at it that way, then the most disadvantaged kids will receive more benefit from this tax than anything. So, whatever gets taken from them will be given back 4, 5, 10-fold. When I started my conversations with Mr Cameron, I gave him a picture frame with a graph from the National Measurement Scheme, which absolutely showed that disadvantaged 5 to 11-year-olds are 4 times, more likely to get overweight, which is a real problem. That's always been at the core of everything that we've put in this campaign.
You haven't managed to convince the Prime Minister this is a good idea yet, have you? You've had quite a few conversations with him about it. What's he actually said to you about his reservations?
No one likes tax, really. No one's... Look, I'm not doing this because it's like the cutest fun I've ever had. I'm doing it because I think it's constructive, it's symbolic, and it's just recalibrating the rules of the game. And at the moment, the game in Britain on public health for children is awry, OK? So I think what we got from Mr Cameron is open-mindedness. He's listening. Yeah, he's not a fan of tax, but I think if all of his advisors and if the public and the polling and the debate here today in Parliament cues him to think that it's just and it's righteous and it puts child health at the centre, which, if you analyse who's in support of it, is robust now. Pretty much every medical group that you would want is in and on it. They're debating it right now. I hope he'll make the right decision.
Well, being just and righteous is one thing, but actually politicians are also, some would say, perhaps too much enthralled to big business. Do you think that's what's going on here? They're putting the interests of big business ahead of the health of the nation?
Yeah, and that's why this conversation with your audience is because the sugary drinks tax is one tiny bit of a whole holistic approach to making Britain happier and healthier. The question is it okay that the food business shapes our children, or are there, do we need to, readjust at certain points in history? And I would say, because we know from all the people that do the measurement for the government, we know that our kids are having 3-4 times more sugar than they need. So we need to address it. And as the single largest source of sugar comes from sugary sweetened drinks, I think it is fair to curtail it. If it doesn't work, we'll remove it. But I think it's fair. They, of course, will think it's not fair. Why? Because you'll see drop-off in sales and they need to protect their business. So the question is this. You've still got choice. Yes, there is 7 pence extra on a can, but you're going to raise £1 billion to do good, to be proactive in this country, and we haven't been proactive enough for the last decade. And I also think this is a moment where, the sugary drinks tax is just one... It's like, that's the kind of rock in the water. It's the ripples of detail and stuff that happens locally and all the little things that look after the most disadvantaged and inspire them to hopefully live happier, healthier lives. That's the important bit.
Jamie Oliver, thank you.